Hey, this is Luke, and this is the blog discussing the surround mix for the promotional video. The delivery is slightly different from the BBC stereo mix in the fact that this is a surround sound and it's a cinema mix. That means the cinema systems are set up slightly differently. They have 5.1, which is 5 surround channels and an LFE channel. And in the cinemas they use a bass management system, and what that does is it takes a summation of all the surround channels, cuts it off at 120 hertz, and then sends that everything below 120 hertz to the LFE channel, which is then increased by 10 decibels. So to mix with this in mind, we had to actually design a bass management system, and we were going to do it in Logic, but we did it in our Sapphire liquid mix, so that all our outputs in Logic surround mix will go into the through Sapphire into each speaker independently, and by doing it in Sapphire we could control it easier, and it made calibrating the speakers for surround quite a bit easier. Okay, so before we moved on to calibrating speakers, we just had to do a few things in Logic. Firstly, if we are going to send a test oscillator tone of pink noise minus 18 dBFS through all the speakers, we just wanted to make sure on the surround mixer that none of the individual speakers were sent into the LFE, because our Sapphire was doing that as well, so it would have doubled up. So on the surround mixers we just turned down the send to the LFE to 0. And the other thing we did was assign each of the speaker outputs to the correlating outputs in Sapphire. In the calibration we sent the pink noise through to the speaker which was soloed. The first one was the LFE channel. In one of the documents of calibrating speakers in surround, it says to have the LFE 4 dB louder than the rest of the channels. But when we came around to calibrating the other speakers, they couldn't get loud enough. So instead of setting initially the LFE to 84, we turned it down to 80 so the others could reach a level of within 4 dB of it. So the LFE we calibrated to 80 dB, and the other speakers were 76 dB. And we did this using a SPL meter on C weighting and with slow response, just so that we could see more accurately where the general dB level was. Also, the position of the SPL meter for the front left, center, and front right, we held the SPL meter directly towards the center in listening position, angled up slightly about 35 degrees. And for the back right, we turned anti-clockwise 90 degrees, and for the back right we turned clockwise 90 degrees from the listening position. All the speakers calibrated to the right levels and bass management system activated. We took all the stems from our stereo mix and imported them into Logic. We changed the channels from stereo to 5.1 channels, and the master output was made at surround channel as well. Before we went on to panning all our stems, we just wanted to check some of the dynamics and levels. So we imported a few references of other films. We used I Am Legend, Pirates of the Caribbean, and Casino Royale as references. From looking at the references, we could see that the vocals were sitting at an RMS of about minus 27 dB. This is an American standard, but for Europeans it's at minus 25. So that helped us decide the level that we should put our vocals at. The music was quite dynamic. In the cinema there's a greater variance of dynamics, so that allowed us a bit more freedom in how we wanted to express our music. In cinemas, the center channel is mainly for the vocals, but from Pirates of the Caribbean we found that there was a lot of Foley sent to the center channel as well. Same with Casino Royale, there was a lot of effects that were in the center channel as well as the dialogue. So this influenced our decision in sending some of our music and Foley to the center channel, as well as the dialogue. We also found that Pirates of the Caribbean had vocals sitting in the front left and front right, as well as the Casino Royale and I Am Legend From the Dolby side, this is acceptable, and it's just used to thicken up the vocals, make it sound a bit wider. So what we did with our vocals is we added a little bit of reverberation, the same that we used for the Foley, and applied that to the front left and front right as well, so that our dialogue is sitting mainly in the center, but there is some reverb in the front left and front right. The panning of the rest of the track was quite intuitive, so we wanted to do a couple of creative things. Like one of the drum rolls we sent around all the speakers by automating the direction. We did this by getting the surround mixer, setting it to latch mode, and then when it was playing past that section, we just dragged it around in a circle and it just recorded the position. For our kick, we sent it to the rear left and rear right, just to sort of emphasize the support that it was given. We just decided between us where we thought elements should sit. Okay, so when we were all happy with the mix and how it was sitting in the surround system, we just outputted split audio channels. We did try outputting as an interleaved file, as a single wave multiplex, but when we dragged it back into the Logic project, it was not containing the same audio information as we sent out. It was quieter, and we think there was some automatic downmixing and normalization that took place. So instead what we did was we sent out split files which wrote the audio information into the separate speaker channels, which actually helped in the next stage of creating an AC3 version of our audio. Now, to get a DVD format, we needed to convert the MP4 file we got of the video and convert that to an MPEG-2, which is the standard DVD format, and synchronize that with an AC3 version. So that's why we needed to get the AC3 version. So we did that in Compressor. And a few things about Compressor that we didn't realize at first was that you had to import the file, choose the setting, apply it, and then choose the destination. And we just did that in a different order and came up with a couple of error messages. Once we figured out the right order of doing everything, there's a couple of settings that we needed to look at when converting our audio and getting an AC3 version. First of all, we had to assign each audio to the speaker channel that the AC3 was accepting, and then once that was done, we just had to change a few settings in the Dolby Digital encoder pane. For example, it was automatically set to -27 normalization of the dialogue, but for European standard we changed that to -25 instead, so we just increased it by 2 dB. Surround channel of 90 degrees phase shift, we could have selected this option to create the ability to downmix. So if our DVD is put into a stereo DVD player, it will downmix it and it will be compatible in a different surround system. We didn't tick this because we just wanted it to be a straightforward 5.1 DVD with no downmixing. And using Compressor as well, we also converted our MP4 video to an MPEG-2, which is standard DVD format, and then we managed to combine them in DVD Studio Pro for creating our final DVD. In evaluation, there's one thing that we didn't take into consideration: the information from our stereo project. We included the EBU bars and the blitz tones and the SMPTE information. The SMPTE information we could have got away with because it's not embedded into the AC3 audio. That's not such an issue, but we've left the EBU bars in there, but I don't think that will harm the piece in any way. Creativity wise, I think we could have done a bit more to the vocals, sound reverb rather than just a left and right channel reverb.